Hey fellas, this is Collin and you're watching Magic Strawberry. It's almost impossible to talk about Death Stranding without discussing the events leading up to its development, so here goes. Back in 2015, Konami parted ways with Metal Gear Solid creator Hideo Kojima shortly before the release of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. The highly publicized divorce resulted in Kojima's name being removed from all copies of the game, and the details as to how this all came about still remain murky. Whether it was because of budgetary concerns or Konami's restructuring that saw them refocus their resources elsewhere, no one really knows why Kojima split with Konami. Nevertheless, the departure resulted in Metal Gear Solid 5 being largely unfinished upon release, and the canceling of PT, a new installment of the Silent Hill series that Kojima was developing alongside filmmaker Guillermo del Toro. Hideo Kojima forged ahead and reformed his own development company as an independent studio, and began development on Death Stranding, which saw him collaborate with Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro for a second time. Now that Kojima was practically his own boss, the shackles were off, and he was finally allowed to work in the uncompromising manner he would have only dreamed of. And following a few years of cryptic marketing and a largely secretive development process, Death Stranding was finally released this November. But is it good? And more importantly, is it fun to play? Well, first off, the game is set in a post-apocalyptic America whose lands have been ravaged by the Death Stranding, which set off a series of explosions called voidouts, which are caused by these things called BTs, that consume the dead, which is why corpses are now mandated to be cremated to avoid said voidouts. The BTs in question are essentially dead spirits stuck in purgatory, and in this struggle they now roam the earth, entrapping living beings, consuming the dead, and produce a type of rain called timefall, a corrosive substance that ages and deteriorates everything it touches. These circumstances cause humanity to renounce their surface living ways, and now all remaining American cities now reside in underground bunkers. These bunkers still need resources to operate, however, and only the brave traverse these treacherous lands to deliver materials. This is where the protagonist, Sam Porter Bridges, comes in, a delivery man who can carry up to 190 kilos on his back and has the ability to detect BTs because of a special substance in his blood called dooms. This makes him the perfect man for the job, and after much prodding, he is tasked to reconnect America to the chiral network so that it can still operate as a country during these distraught and trying times, and to also rescue his sister, who is supposedly trapped on a beach on the west coast. In order to convince these various bunkers and cities to connect to the chiral network, you first have to deliver materials to them, and that's the game. You walk across America and you make deliveries. In all fairness, there is a little more to it. For every delivery, you must decide how much cargo you want to bring, including ladders and ropes that could help you traverse difficult obstacles. However, this will make the load you're carrying that much heavier, and the heavier the cargo, the more difficult it will be to walk, as you'll often be prompted to lean on one side or the other in order to maintain proper balance. And obviously, this will deplete your stamina, which can be regained thanks to Monster Energy. This is made especially difficult when you're trapped in timefall, which not only makes surfaces slippier, but the rain will also ruin your packages if you're stuck in it for too long. And you can either struggle through the rain or wait it out in a nearby shelter. But where there's timefall, there is also BTs. Luckily, they can't see you, and thanks to this baby strapped to your chest, you can see them and plan your route accordingly to avoid being sucked into a giant puddle of tar. The game explains how this all works, I promise. The other enemies you have to look out for are these people called mules, and these are people who are literally addicted to cargo and will chase you in a blood rage to get their fix of cargo. Don't ask. The game isn't all bad. The mocap performances are perhaps the best I've ever seen in a game, considering there's tons of familiar faces, and at no point does the animation ever cross the uncanny valley. The environments that you traverse, however monotonous, are breathtaking and beautifully rendered. And lastly, the story is pure Kojima bliss. Almost nothing makes sense, even after long expositional cutscenes. Things still make no sense, but what we have come to expect from Kojima is his heavy-handed symbolism because, let's face it, subtlety isn't really a strong suit. The game itself really is just a giant metaphor. Kojima himself described it as the first Strand-type game in which we connect the strands between each other, we build bridges, we work together, and we reconnect America. Like I said, it's not subtle. Literally everything in this game is a metaphor, especially your mechanics in which you can lay down infrastructure that other players can use. Basically, once you connect a region to the chiral network, you can scan the area and use every bridge, rope, ladders, and vehicles that other players have left behind in order to traverse the area in an easier fashion. Even the names, however literal they may be, are metaphors. Kojima's galaxy brain really outdid itself. With that said, the majority of the game is a slog to get through. Ironically, in a game about connecting people and things, there's no connective tissue to blend all the polish in an entertaining way. Every mission is the same. You deliver materials to a bunker, the person who runs the territory evaluates the condition of the package, then you pick up another package, you walk to another city or bunker, drop off the package, get an evaluation, and repeat. I'd like to say there's more mission variety, but there literally isn't. This is what you'll be doing for most of the game. Around hour 30, the delivery and walking mechanics gets extremely old, and finishing the game becomes a chore. And in my case, when I thought I had finished the game, I still had roughly 5 more hours to go, and at times it felt like the game genuinely would never end. The only people I would recommend this game to are people who are already predisposed to liking Death Stranding because of Hideo Kojima. And in a way, I also was predisposed, but I can't stress enough that this game is not for everybody, because Kojima caters to a very specific demographic. There's plenty to like and admire about Death Stranding, but in my case, it just isn't fun to play. I give Death Stranding a 5 out of 10. Thanks for watching Magic Strawberry. Feel free to hit the like button down below, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on Twitter at ZTV Goofing Off. See ya!